Hi, everybody. It's Birb, agent speaker. Welcome to another episode of the Nestro podcast. And today I have a very big honor and pleasure actually hosting yet another new member, greatly talented person in our The Burbness team. This has been definitely a very successful journey for our today's guest so far. And I'm super curious what the future brings. And this is the right time actually to get you to know him and vice versa. Today's guest is Nicolás, OnChainLabs, known on Twitter as OnChainLabs. He's an analyst at the Birb Nest. He's definitely committing a lot of works to the price action analysis, to the market reviews on the price side, on the on-chain side, and so much more. We're going to discover as much as we can throughout the show. Welcome to the podcast, buddy. How is it going? How are you feeling?
Thank you, Birb. Everything all right? We have been dealing with some crazy markets over this past period of months. So, joining like the Burbness has been quite an experience for me, and I'm happy to be here. And thank you for the invitation.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I couldn't not agree more in terms of like how tricky the market has been. I've seen many very reputable analysts, CMTs, CFAs, actually wrapping up their thoughts, quickly summarizing it that we've just seen like the worst opening, the worst 4 month opening, January for April, in S&P 500's history, right?
Mhm.
We are talking about like some big ongoing changes on the macroeconomic side. We are, of course, we're in the process of rate hiking cycle. We are of talking about 42-year long downwards trends, on 10-year yields. There is so much more going on with uncertainty, with overall, lack of directions, lack of decisions, and a lot of blood in the markets, which hasn't been really supportive for very, very, I should say, profitable trading usually, right? This is definitely environment that many people suffer from, counting recent crashes on the market. And uh, this has been very rough. But tell me, Nick, tell me how has it happened for you to actually be where you are right now, to be able to experience those better and worse times as a trader? What's your story, man?
I first started trading on 2016 when my mom's friend introduced me with Bitcoin at that time.
Mm.
I wasn't going university at that time. I actually was studying music. I ended up dropping university because of some financial issues from my side, and I didn't like university at all. Like, it didn't make sense to me, like uh, getting in depth with university in order to study something that I can certainly acquire all of that knowledge online. So when my mom's friend taught me about Bitcoin, I started investigating a lot, and I ended up finishing investing in some Ponzi scheme where I lost a lot of money. And this Ponzi scheme introduced the word trading for me, because they said that they paid like the returns of investments from trading with your money, right? So when I lost all of this money, I said to myself, like, okay, if they were supposedly trading, there's something about it behind it, right? And eventually I started investigating about it. I get into charts, trying to understand candlesticks, candlestick formations, chart patterns, and all that stuff. And I don't know if it was luck or something, but certainly we were in the 2017 bull market where everyone makes money, right? So in that time, I started trading, but eventually I ended up losing everything I won in 2018. So that's when I really focused it on learning what's behind markets, how to interpret charts, how to build a portfolio, how to build a strategy, back testing, and everything professionally talking about, because at the beginning everything was like a gamble for me, right? And I think that's the start for most of the people that come into this industry right now. They try to win a lot of money, and they end up eventually losing and giving up trading and investing because of that. And we are seeing that right now again. Not like this is wildest that what happened on 2017, I think. And right now, like I'm really happy, because after all this journey in which I have been studying, I'm always eager for learning, studying, implementing my strategies, looking for what works for me on the markets, indicators, candlesticks, everything. I now have the pleasure to work with an amazing team, which is the Birb, to contribute with them. And these past 3 months in which I have started has been really the most amazing months in my career, because like traders are like solitary wolves, and that certainly was something that was missing for me, like interaction with other people, um, not like following opinions about the market of other people, but really interaction and learning from them, because every day on the nest is for me another learning experience for any type of analysis and opinions that the other analysts have, and the members as well, because we have a lot of good traders, good investors there, and it's certainly a professional group that I'm totally happy to be in.
Amazing, amazing. This is quite a chunk of a very interesting story, and figuring out, I think, how fast the time flies in terms of, like, your story, getting from the very origins in 2016, 17, being a huge roller coaster, winning a lot, then losing a lot, and I think this is life of a trader, right? This is,
Yeah.
I think everybody can relate to some extent there. And speaking of your overall skills and amazing, I think very, very outstanding skills in market reading, let's talk a bit about your market analysis approach. Like, what is your approach? How do you approach markets? What is your view? How do you interpret it?
Okay, so when I first started trading, basically I started trading e-mini futures with some brokers on the United States, right? So my first approach to the markets was not only like cryptocurrencies itself, but trading on an intraday basis, the ES Mini and the Nasdaq, right? So there were times in which I started to understand kind of like how this market itself moves, because every pair, every asset has a personality itself. They don't move it like other type of assets. So let's say right now the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, the equities are having a lot of correlation with well, Bitcoin is having a lot of correlation with equities, right? But if you can see, Bitcoin has its own price action and it has its own personality. So my way to approach the markets is to try to focus on the majors. I trade on an intraday basis the S&P 500, Bitcoin, Ethereum, US oil, gold, and always taking into consideration the XY, right? Because the dollar is the main how do I say that? Like the main character,
Currency. Yeah.
yeah, the main character there. So that's my way to approach the markets. I don't like to have like endless watch lists in which I'm watching every single asset, because I respect the movement from every single asset that I trade, and I look at them on a daily basis.
True, true, true. I got you. I mean, I personally fully agree with what you said in terms of like getting to know the asset very well, right? In terms of like you need to really acquaintance it, you need to really become friends with it, as in each other inside out. To be honest, to an extent, right? Uh, like I think the one of the major problems, like in my past and like in terms of how many people usually come with the same problem is that they try to catch each and every single move by observing each and every single market that exists, right? But there is like a whole almost infinity of the markets, like the whole bunch of markets out there, and like there is not enough time, right? So they end up kind of like, instead of getting to know one market well, they focus on learning to know many markets at the same time, and as a result they don't know any of those at all,
So
right? So I fully endorse and share the same opinion, and well, and speaking and while we were at it, at the market analysis kind of like side of the things, uh, have you figured out what your 2022 market like outlooks, expectations, ideas, approach looks like? Do you have any chart reviews perhaps you would like to show off?
yeah, totally, totally. We talk about Bitcoin and the S&P 500 to take a look at what the market is doing right now.
Okay. Oops. Let's go.
Okay, so basically, we have Bitcoin right now is trading at a very important level, which is the 2021 lows. So the last weekly candle closed somewhat like a bullish hammer candle. But since the downtrend we have been dealing with is very strong, we have to be very aware of waiting for a type of confirmation candle in order to confirm reversal here, right? So my expectations from Bitcoin right now is just waiting, like in the long term, is just waiting because we can certainly start like ranging here like we did on 2021 and getting choppy until we see an expansion move, because technically talking, we Bitcoin has been ranging in between 65,000 and 28 800 $800,000. So technically speaking, after a long period of consolidation, we are going to see an expansion, right? And this expansion can come like in both sides. I'm not taking like a bullish side, neither bearish, but waiting for what the market is telling me. And in this scenario, also using the Verificator Pro tool, we're seeing that the Bitcoin price on the weekly and is trading right now below this 50 baseline, which is basically the combination of two moving averages from the Verificator. And what I would like to see is to wait for more price development here. And if we close below this level over here, which is 28,800 on the weekly, then I would start considering about a possible retest of the realized price band of the on-chain metrics, right? Because this realized price band has been historically one of the best supports when we are dealing with bearish markets on Bitcoin. And if we have a weekly closure below this level, then the window opens for a retest of this price, and it's possible that I would totally reconsider my long-term view for Bitcoin. And this will also come, like right now we are seeing various pressure from the S&P 500, as we can see here. The S&P 500 on the weekly chart was trading inside a kind of a falling wedge structure, which has now been invalidated because we have the closure of the CME official trading week in 3 hours. So Basically, if we have a closure below 38.56, 57, sorry, the possible scenario for Bitcoin is to keep declining, because right now we are not in a normal macroeconomic situation in which markets can recover fast, since we are dealing with a lot of economic uncertainty coming from war with Russia and Ukraine war. We're also dealing with the Fed interest rate hikes, the reducing the balance sheet, inflation on astronomical levels. So this is not a good scenario for risk on assets, and we have seen that because of the current decline we have experienced it with both equities and cryptocurrencies. Most altcoins have declined more than 90%. We recently saw how Luna totally collapsed. So for me right now, this is not a good environment to start thinking on long-term investment, but rather try to wait for confirmation. And if we get a confirmation on Bitcoin that we are going lower, then it's possible that I will be looking for buying Bitcoin, DCA on Bitcoin for long-term, for a long-term approach, right? Because we are not going to see possibly like a V-shaped recovery because of the economic uncertainty we are dealing right now.
Gotcha. I mean, in all honesty, I have to just praise you for the clarity of your charts. I love how clean charts you have out there. In any markets, all the levels are super clearly marked. You know, the patterns are very clearly marked, and you know the way I look at it, you know, like from my side, you know, also being in this technical analysis field, is uh, if you have a clean chart, it means you have a clean mind and clean understanding of what you're looking for in the chart, right? And many people, from my experience, you know, tend to see patterns where they don't exist, as in forced patterns, right? Like there is not an inverse head and shoulders pattern or a triangle pattern, and they would still somehow try to connect all the dots so it somehow comes out as a pattern, right? Despite it's not. And this is, of course, very dangerous. And otherwise on completely another far end of the things, I like what I see in your chart is the full whole bunch of a professionalism knowledge, kind of like, you know, applications, and a very good understanding of chart patterns. Also your knowledge about the candle formations and the bullish pattern, the bullish hammer, which I fully endorse. And you know, with all that being said, you know, do you have any well specific trading concepts, triggers, strategies, techniques you're personally looking at for trading, be it the well ES minis maybe if you trade them, or crypto or any other market? What are your triggers?
Yeah, totally. I can show you here on my charts. What I mainly do is try to, uh, on my intraday basis, like I try to look for the levels on the daily chart. I'm going to turn off the verificator for now. But basically, what I look for is when I have like clean charts with clean support and resistance levels, because for me, support and resistance levels are liquidity levels in which participants in the market are going to interact with price. So when any of these levels is broken or rejected, we are certainly having some kind of candle formations there. So if I'm looking at the daily chart on a daily basis to try to get the bias on the intraday charts, then I would say that in this case, Bitcoin has been moving choppy in between 31,700 and also the support here at 29,000. That give me a clear, let's say, intraday range in which I can start looking for trades. Then I go for the 4-hour chart, and I'm always have this both charts, the 4-hour and the 1 hour, at the same time, because my main triggers come from the 1 hour chart, while following the 4 hour chart bias. Okay, so now that I have the range formation in which Bitcoin is trading on the daily chart, I will start looking for those liquidity levels on the 4 hour chart that are the same as the 1 hour. These support and resistance levels that basically tell me where's the market heading right now. So what I'm expecting right now is for Bitcoin possibly retest $28,475 and possibly taking these lows over here, grab some liquidity, and try to move bullish ahead of the weekly closing, because we need that weekly bullish closure, and market participants are going to endorse that, and the market is going to react to that. But when the market price is moving in between my support and resistance lines, I'm not taking any trade. I only take trades when the price is interacting with these levels, because that offers me like the best risk to reward on an intraday trade. Then what I do is look for candle formations on the 1 hour chart in combination with the verificator, right? Uh, Before I joined the Birb nest, I wasn't using any kind of indicator. It was like a naked chart, only with support and resistance, and looking for the bias on the 4 hour. The same technique I'm applying right now, but I have found that the verificator can actually add me a lot of confluence in when price is interacting with my levels. And what I look for is, let's say, I have a negative divergence on the BPRO on the 1 hour and on the 4 hour, and that's why I look for the both charts at the same time. Then on the 1 hour, when the 4 hour candle is closed, I will start looking for candle formations on this resistance level that give me possible direction of the market, right? So in this case, we had this divergence with this kind of little pin bar, which is more like a doji. And then we have bullish candle, and then this inside bar candle right here, and then this breakout to the downside. And this indicates me that following from the 4 hour chart, that the next 4 hour candle, it's most likely to close bearish, following from the both 4 hour and 1 hour dips, only interacting with my resistance level. And then I start looking for opening short trades, short-term short trades. And that has been like my approach in the market in the last past month, because I have been attempting an FTMO challenge publicly with members and on Twitter as well. Because the profit target of this challenge is making 10% of the initial balance in 1 month. So I have to take this aggressive style to attempt to reach this 10% target, right?
Amazing. I mean, I definitely want to congratulate on your taking part in the FTMO. For those who actually do not know, of all the audience watching and listening to our podcast, FTMO is actually, an institution which somehow validates the professional traders versus the amateur traders. As in, a person who holds an FTMO, kind of like a confirmation on their side, is somehow accredited and acknowledged in the professional trading professional trading field, right? Many traders are actually very well, I should say, attracted to the FTMO challenge, mainly because a lot of proprietary firms, like proprietary trading desks, expects them to bring this, right? So this is definitely very well, not only appreciated by tons of members of ours, but I think it also distinguishes yourself as a real trader out there. And huge congratulations to you, Nick, on that.
Thank you.
I also know, and this couldn't go without our notice, that you are sharing your mastery, your beautiful skills in the on-chain side of the things. also accounting for the recent reports that you put out there on Twitter. Could you perhaps refer back to the reports that you put out there, if you have any?
Yeah, totally. Let me open.
Of course. And in the meantime, while Nick is opening his market reports on the on-chain side, I want to kindly recommend to you guys so that you hit the subscribe button, smash the likes. If you are new to our channel, our podcast is actually free as much as um, any other episode, stream, webinar that you watch on a daily basis, because we do put out a daily series of content coming out to our YouTube in order to let you guys learn free of any charge whatsoever. If you appreciate it, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Stay notified also with the notifications bell. And I think we are somehow ready to hear what Nick has to say about accounting for his amazing on-chain reports.
Sorry, thank you, Birb. So yeah, I have been writing weekly basis on-chain reports. Mix it is not like only on-chain, but mix it with macroeconomics and my my expectations for the market for next week or that week itself. I recently released this alts Bitcoin guide for the community members, in which I talk about which is the relationship between Bitcoin dominance and altcoins, and which are the possible like scenarios that we can possibly see on Bitcoin, in which I talk about past scenarios as well, in like when Bitcoin dominance is it's high and Bitcoin is moving bullish. We can clearly see that altcoins are just following Bitcoin, and they are not moving from their own price action. They are just following Bitcoin. And the problem with this is that when Bitcoin dominance is rising and Bitcoin is rising as well, altcoins are losing market share. And this will be reflected when Bitcoin starts moving slow and then finding a resistance level with both with Bitcoin dominance moving to the upside. And when Bitcoin starts declining, we can clearly see here that in this case, in Ethereum, from the 2017 top, Bitcoin declined at 84%, while Ethereum declined at 94%. And this is just talking about Ethereum, but if you see this relationship with other altcoins that are not on the top 10 market share, you will see higher declines on those altcoins. So in this in the first scenario, what I'm currently looking at is that obviously Bitcoin finding support in the current support level at 29,000, and moving strongly bullish and taking market share from altcoins, and possibly Bitcoin dominance as well, finding a resistance in this historically resistance level, which will be good for altcoins if Bitcoin is moving bullish, or like in a range, to start investing on altcoins, but with this confirmation of Bitcoin finding bottom, right? And in the scenario 2, talking about the on-chain metric of, in this case, CryptoQuant, the realized price, it's currently trading at, we can also see that here on the chart. It's currently trading at 23,866. That was I was talking about before on my Bitcoin chart, that if we see more of a decline on equities, then the window open for Bitcoin continue to decline. It's open, and the possibility of retesting this realized price on-chain metric it's in the table, right? And I have been talking about several other metrics on my last on-chain report as well. I talked about the exchange net flow, that we are we have seen some positive signs of this exchange net flow turning negative, which actually means that there has been a lot of recent buys of Bitcoin and those Bitcoins taken out from exchanges to hold, right? And this approach from investors, either retail or professional investors with huge amounts of money, signals that this is a good price in order to start accumulating Bitcoin, right? So I basically invite you all to go and check out these on-chain reports that I do on a weekly basis. They are completely free. I will be talking there about both macroeconomic and on-chain side of things.
Amazing, amazing. I completely agree and I fully support Nick in what he's saying. I think these reports, guys, are amazingly insightful, and the amount of knowledge you are gaining there by just reading through it is, well, isn't comparable with anything else. And often, usually, so many other people would charge you, well, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for such knowledge. Nick is doing that for you for free. And while we'll add it, I highly recommend you two guys so that you go right away and make sure you follow Nick on Twitter. And his handle is at onchain_labs, at onchain_labs. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. This is definitely more than well deserved for all the amazing wealth of knowledge and experience he's trying to translate to you very well in a simple manner. And well, definitely want to congratulate you, Nick, on this amazing achievement so far. And the amount of knowledge is really, really, really insightful. Like I said, many people and traders definitely appreciate that. And well, if you don't mind, let's talk about for the next couple of minutes about perhaps your growth plans. Right? We've briefly touched upon your role in the Birb nest overall and how much time you contribute and how much growth there's already been, how much actually it's unlocked for you and for the members. And let's dive into your growth plans for 2022. What are you thinking of doing in the next
Yeah,
months?
for sure. Well, actually, my next step, I think that my next step for my career path on trading will be starting to study and attempt a CMT level 1. That's my main goal for this year. Okay. I'm always eager to learn, and I think not only the fact of having a CMT, but I really all of my knowledge has come from like my starting from myself, right? Looking for books, sometimes getting not well information from sites. So I would like to start like more of a professional side of things, and for 2022, and I think that will be my like next step for my trading career as well, to keep growing my knowledge in order to be able to share that to members, right? Because if I want to be part of such an amazing trading community and with such amazing and talented traders and professionals, I have to constantly keep updating myself with what is happening and what other type of knowledge I can acquire to myself in order to be at that level.
Amazing, amazing. I got you very well there. Well, there is a full alignment there. I definitely respect all the CMT CFAs out there, and combining, I think, well, FTMO and combining CMT CFA, all of those encouragements, those programs are supposed to encourage the taker to learn and discover a completely brand new world, and especially in terms of the finances, which, well, to my mind, it completely again differentiates the real professionals versus and from the amateurs. And there's, of course, nothing bad in being an amateur, right? Not everybody needs to be a doctor. Not everybody needs to be a top class mathematician. Not everybody needs to be a next Elon Musk, right? And this is completely fine. And at the same time, if your goal, to all the viewers and listeners, if your goal actually is, becoming a really dedicated person and committing all the time and energy into discovering the market magic, then definitely studying, for CMT, CFA, FTMO. There are so many other, I think, journeys and paths that you can choose from, and this is definitely amazing experience, and it really opens up your eyes in terms of not only the finance but also discovering yourself in terms of the emotions, how it all works. So I fully, all that is to say, all this elaborate is to say that I fully support Nick on his journey. And Nick, we do have, of course, this, well, this usual casual uh, element and factor to our podcast, so that our guest, which happens to be you, very happily this time, uh, have the chance to speak to the audience, to the viewers and listeners, for the final takeaway. If you were to give them a final tip, this golden tip, that saved you money, that perhaps, oh, brought some amazing changes to you, what tip would you give to those people?
Well, it would be to work on your psychology side of things. It's definitely when you start working on your psychology and within yourself, and that's what I love about trading, because I have grown so much as a person by just following this career path, that when I started working on my psychological issues and trying to apply that to my trading style, it totally changed the picture of how you approach to markets. You don't approach the markets with anxiety. You don't approach the markets with willing to make money, because that's just a result of some good risk management and a nice strategy. But my tip would be to work, like try to be the 1%. Like 99% of the traders are focused on learning technical analysis, right? You can learn that, and it's not as difficult as working on your psychology. So as I have been mentoring some students now, I send them some psychological books and exercises that has nothing to do with trading, but in the long term, that is going to reflect on your path as a profitable trader, right?
True. Well, beautifully said. Couldn't agree more. Beautiful words. And well, with all that, again, kind reminder for everybody who are, if you're watching that on YouTube, if you're watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, make sure you go and rush to hit the follow button on Nicolás's Twitter at OnChain_Labs. Well, I think that the amount of knowledge and the experience that really, well, reflects and shines bright from the other side of the screen from you, Nick, is very much appreciated by so many members. Um, I want to definitely very quickly just give a words of acknowledgement and real appreciation. And I'm truly honored for you being part of the team. This is huge challenge. This has always been huge challenge to get into that Birb Nest team, and you did really make it. And you did really make it because of not only your amazing skill set, your amazing knowledge and experience, but also for being an amazing person, well, in private. So hugely appreciated. I'm super excited to continue the journey with you, and this is amazing to have you. Congratulations. And ladies and gentlemen, Nicolás, known as OnChainLabs, the true master at work, you could observe him work throughout the show, has been our guest. Thank you so much for coming over to the show, Nicolás. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Birb, for the invitation, and thank you guys for your time and watching this.
Amazing. I see you guys on the next shows.
Bye
Cheers.
bye.